This video will demonstrate what to do once you've completed all of the appropriate homework and are ready for the practice exam. On the first page on page 23, there was a list of all the homework that needed to be done. Section 2.5 is the last before the first exam. After you've completed the homework for that exam and uploaded it to the X Drive, you are then instructed to go to page 107, 110. These will show the chapter highlights that are available, demonstrating all of the concepts that you have learned, and this is a wonderful review. So you've now completed. So to demonstrate that, if we go back to our My Math Lab, go to the e-textbook. If we click on Chapter 2, go to Review, or pick any of the sections, that will also get us our e-textbook link. It is the second of the three. Again, maneuvering within this e-textbook, we can simply type in the appropriate number for our page, or we can use the arrows for previous and next page at the top or on the side of the page. Here are the chapter highlights just described. It's a great opportunity for you to review these topics. As it read, it's from 107 to 110, and here are the highlights. We return to the workbook. It reads, you have completed the material that will be covered for the first exam. Congratulations. There are 3 tools available for you: the practice exams, study plan, and the post-chapter tests. Of the 3 tools, the practice exam is the only one that's required. You must achieve 70 or better in order to move to the exam. Once you've completed one of the 3 available attempts of the practice exam, you will then be given the password for the first exam to complete the exam in the Emporium, proctored by your professor. All work must be shown in order to get credit for a question. If you do not show your work, you will, even if the question is correct, you will not be given credit for that question. So the exam tools, as mentioned, is a practice exam. Please read these instructions on page 73. I'm going to give you a basic instruction of that. So if we go to our main course page, again, if we click these tabs, we will have just the main tabs. Here is Take an Exam. On the right, what exams would I like to take? Well, I just finished my learning, so I want to do the practice exam. I click Practice Exam. At this point, you will not be given this password until you have shown your professor or a professor in the Emporium your completed workbook. They will then give you the password, and you will then be ready to begin. Please read these instructions. You have about 90 minutes to begin. You do not need to complete this exam, this practice exam, in one sitting. You can stop and return. Be sure not to hit submit, but to save for later. On the right hand side, I am ready to start. I will begin my exam. I will enter some values. Notice on the right hand side, you do not have the learning tools available to you. The reason for this is that we want you to actually feel like this is the test, and we want you to practice in those environments, in that environment. Here we have 0, so I'll just enter some of the values. I'm going to make some mistakes. I'll make this 10, 12. Next question. We'll make this 64. And you would go through and complete these questions. When you are done, you would then submit test. If you're not done, as I mentioned, you can save for later and return. Now, one of the components of this is that you will not be able to return to those previous questions. You must do these questions in order. It is important that you do not use your notes, you do not get any help from anybody, you do not look at your homework. This is simply you and the material. Can you do it? Of course, I'm not going to do all the questions. I'm going to hit Submit Test. Are you sure you've not completed your test? I have. Hit Yes. And it tells me what I've gotten correct and what I've gotten wrong. And of course, you can see the different X because those are questions that I did not do. At the bottom, you are now available to go to the results or to review the test. We know that I did poorly, so we're just going to review the test. In the review, we now have available to us the actual question and the answer, whether it is correct or incorrect. One of the other keys that we have is this code, 1317. That code represents the chapter. So this material is from Chapter 1, Section 3, and it's question 17. So as we look up here, again, just like the homework, this question 1 was correct, 2 was correct, 3 was incorrect. So if we look at that, if I scroll over it, it will tell me what I inputted, and it will tell me the correct answer. Because you've completed this review in the same fashion as you've completed the homework, not erasing any homework, not erasing any work, incorrect or correct, you will then have an opportunity to review your mistakes. And that's what we want to do. We learn from our mistakes. So I've listed all of the questions. For example, if this was question section 1.333, this is chapter 1, section 3, question 33. I am now going to list all of these questions so that I can now go to the next tool, which is the study plan. Notice I've taken the exam. Now I'm going to go to study plan. In study plan, there is a link to view all chapters. I click view all chapters. I just mentioned that this is chapter 3, chapter 1, section 3, question 33. So if I go to question 33, I now have an opportunity to practice this question again. And this is your studying. This is how you prepare for the actual exam. Again, I can use Help Me Solve This. I can view an example. I can go back to the textbook. And I can send an email to my instructor and ask for help in that regard. So there are many on-demand tools that are available to you to help you study for the exam. Once you've done all of this preparation, you would then return to take an exam. You would click on the practice exam a second time. You would enter the password that was given to you, and you would begin the process again. We do not want you to go to an exam where you don't know the material. We want you to use these tools in order to make sure you know. You don't want to go to an exam knowing you don't know. And that is how we would use these tools described in the workbook, the practice exam, the study plan, and then the third tool is the chapter test. Again, if we go to the instructions are here. The post-test here is on page 46 for chapter 1 and 113 for chapter 2. The magnificent part about this, we go back to the e-textbook, chapter test with test prep videos. Each question, again, we would love you to do this question, and then once you've done it, click the link to the left of the question and watch the instructor complete the question to confirm that you've done it correctly. So here's the view chapter 1 link. It opens up the e-textbook as you have done before. And each of these questions has been completed. So if the question that we struggled with was this, So I would click on this question, I would do the question, then click on the video and watch it completed for me to confirm that I'm doing it correctly. And as I mentioned, each of these questions has the completed solution for every single question. And here is the Chapter 2 test. Again, these tools are for you to help you prepare for the exam.